Hello, and welcome to the Stitching Over the Days podcast. This is episode 32, and my name is Constance. I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment out of your day to hear all about my sewing, knitting, and crochet adventures. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's CLEOCMC. And there's also a Ravelry group, Stitching Over the Days. I haven't been as active in the group, but I'm hoping to change that soon. And also there's a blog with the show notes, yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. Okay, I don't want to prolong the time, but I do want to say that we have all been affected by the coronavirus or COVID-19 throughout the world. It's a global thing that's affecting us all. And because of that, life has changed, I know, a lot for me with school, with also my work. And the city of Columbia has shut down everything for 2 weeks, I think, except for essential businesses. So because of that, I've been adhering to all of the rules and regulations, and I've been limiting my time going out. And so I've just been staying in and staying occupied. And that has led to a lot of crafting being done. So much. My sister's April said, by the end of this, you're going to have like a full wardrobe coming out of this quarantine. And I said, she may be right. So yes, I hope that you're all staying busy and occupied and also just staying safe and well during these times. And so today I just want to share with you what I've been up to and what I've been doing. And I also want to do a brief update. We had 3 winners from our Kim Hargraves along, which I announced in the previous podcast. And I planned to put those in the mail, but then I went home and I said, I'll put it in the mail when I get back. And then all of this happened. And so I do believe the postal services are still operating and going, but I'm still just being cautious about going out too much. And so what I may do is I'm going to wait just a couple of weeks to see how this is going and before I put those in the mail. But I'm glad that I paused on putting those in the mail because I forgot that I had an extra copy of the Steel Collection by Kim Hargraves. So I'm going to go back to that thread in the Ravelry group and I will randomly pick another winner. So there will be 4 prizes for the Kim Hargraves along. And again, I apologize for that delay, but it will get to you. Okay, so we're going to get into our finished objects. I have quite a few finished objects. A lot of sewing has been done. And then I want to share with you my works in progress. And I'll end the podcast there. So let's get started. Okay, so first I made a New Look 6469. Now I have made this pattern previously 3 times before. I made a fancier version in silver for the holidays. It was like my holiday dress and I wore it only once. And then I made another version, a black version, and the mustard or gold colored version that I wear quite often. And so I figured I would like to make another version of that dress. However, the last time I went for the crew neck, but this time I wanted to go for the mock turtleneck. And also I wanted to go for shorter sleeves. So I used Ponte for those previous versions, and so I used Ponte again. I always use most of the time whenever I use Ponte, I use the Fabric Merchants Ponte and I purchased it from fabric.com. So earlier I purchased this beautiful green Ponte, and earlier like in the fall. And so I had enough to make that dress, and I really liked that dress. It was quite fun, and I really liked the option of the mock turtleneck, so much so that I want to make another. And I followed the pattern exactly as printed. It's a very easy pattern. It's really nice. It has an invisible zipper insertion, and I really like that. Also, it gives it a nice seamless look. But other than that, I mean, if you're feeling pretty confident about inserting zippers, then I think that you'll love this pattern. It also works up really quickly, and I really like that also. And so, of course, I think it's I just love it because it's in this beautiful sage green color that, I mean, I love all shades of green, but I really liked how this one looked also against my skin. So I would definitely say it is a success. I wore it when I went home, and yeah. And I also wore I had to get a new driver's license, and so I wore it when I went to get my new license photo, and the lady said, "Green must be your favorite color." I said yes. So I will just share all of the finished garments, and then I'll put all of the finished images and twirls at the end so you can see how they fit and how the drape is for each of the garments at the very end of this video. So that is New Look 6469. So then I kind of took a pause from sewing, and I received a gift from Rifle Paper Company. Now, if you all have been following this podcast for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of Rifle Paper Company. And they contacted me and said they wanted to send me some fabric. And I was like, I was so ecstatic. I was sharing it with my coworker, and she's a huge Rifle Paper Company fabric fan also. And so she was like, oh my goodness, this is so exciting. I was like, I know, how exciting is this? And so they sent me the package, and I was surprised because it arrived at the door in its most beautiful box. It had lemons and oranges on the outside of the box with like foliage mixed in, and I was like, oh, that is beautiful. And I immediately knew from the box that that was the package. So they sent me the package, and I immediately put down everything and I got to work because I wanted to work up some beautiful garments with this beautiful fabric. And I don't know if it seems like they just knew me, because the entire Primavera collection, now this fabric is from their Primavera collection, is absolutely gorgeous, and I think it may be one of my favorites because it features a lot of greens. Oh, excuse me, it features a lot of greens in that collection. I love green. And so when they gave me two fabrics, and one was a dark floral, and I love dark florals. I always flock to dark florals more so than the light florals because I find that they transition really nicely in the warmer weather and also the colder weather. And so they sent me the dark floral, which I'm actually wearing in today's episode, and you can see a little peek of it here. And this one is called the Wild Rose from the collection, and I think that is the black background. And I decided to make a simple elastic skirt with it, and I wanted to go for a longer elastic skirt. I just wanted to have that really carefree, easy spring, summer look, but I felt that the longer length would look good. But then I'm also thinking I could wear with a sweater and also some boots when it gets a bit colder outside. And so I chose the pattern Simplicity 8605. And I went for that version, the longer length there. And this is a really nice pattern. When I posted it in my Instagram stories, I received a couple of messages of people telling me that they had this pattern in their stash. And I was like, I really think it's a good staple pattern to have. It's easy to sew, and I also think it's great for a beginner. And so I chose to use this pattern for the skirt, and I like that it also has a double casing for the elastic, and I'm actually wearing it today, so I'll kind of stand up briefly. And this is it, and you can see that, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but there's a double casing for the elastic, which is really nice. And I really like it, and it has pockets. And so they also sent me a set of notebooks, and look, my notebook is Wild Rose also. So yes, I'm super happy with this project. It worked up so quickly, but it was super satisfying. And I'm just finding that during these times, the simple, nice, soothing, relaxing projects are just really comforting. And so yes, I made it and I enjoyed it. I made no modifications. I will say I did not have enough to make that waist sash, but I did have enough to make a sash. So what I did was I used the sash pattern from Butterick 6563, and I made a shirt from that pattern before, and it had like a necktie, which I sometimes wear in my hair, but this time I lengthened it quite significantly, about maybe 5 inches or so, because I just wanted to use up all of the fabric as much as I could. And yes, I like that it's long because I could wear it really nicely around my hair, and I've worn it as a headband, but it also looks really nice with the skirt, and it looks really nice around my waist. So either way, it's just a versatile piece, and I was happy to use up that extra fabric. Okay, I was just checking the time. Okay, and so then they sent me the other fabric. As I said, I feel like they just knew what I liked. I mean, oh my goodness, I was so happy that this fabric was sent to me out of the entire collection. And this is the Climbing Vines fabric. And it is so beautiful. I mean, you guys, come on now. It has that light blue background with the green, and I just think it's that's just perfect. It's so beautiful. And they also have the Climbing Vines with a black background, and I've really been thinking I want to add that to my fabric stash, because I would love to have a dress, and I think it would be quite elegant also. But I had 2 yards. Now they sent me 2 yards of each of the fabric. So with the 2 yards, I immediately saw the vines and the layout, and I was like, yes, I know what would look great with that. And that is the Stevie dress by Tilly and the Buttons. And it's again, this is a really good pattern for beginners. It's really easy. I told my sister she wants to start sewing, and she purchased a sewing machine, and she has all of her supplies, and she's also quarantined during this time. And I told her this would be a really good first dress project. And I wanted to play with the layout because the vines kind of had that up and down directional placement. So I did it crosswise for the pocket, if you can see. And also for the back, I did it horizontally also on the yoke. But you can see the body is going vertically. And I'm super happy with it. I think it's the perfect spring and summer dress. It's so cool, it's so easy, it's so breezy, but it really looks really nice and put together. And also, it's a beginner pattern, but it has nice details. Like you saw the neck in the back with the tie neck. Well, this is the tie neck. And then I love the cuffs. I'm trying to get it to focus, but not. Yes, I love the cuffs on the sleeve. And also, I showed you the pocket. So it's all just, those little details really make it quite lovely. So that is the Stevie dress by Tilly and the Buttons. Again, another really super easy, straightforward, very clear pattern. All of Tilly's patterns are very clear. They come with these little booklets, and it's quite visually appealing, and yeah, it has no room for confusion at all. Okay. Now I also forgot to share that I had some fabric left over from that New Look 6469 pattern, and I wanted to make a matching green top to go with the skirt that I'm wearing today that I just shared. And so I knew I wanted to make a crop version of this. Now this pattern is Simplicity A376, and it's one of those hacking patterns where you can do a lot with it. And so what I did was I pretty much went for the sleeveless option, and I also hacked it. I cropped it significantly shorter than what it was supposed to be, and I didn't have that much fabric left from my dress anyway, and so I made a little cropped t-shirt. And I think it's nice. Again, such a really simple, easy pattern. I know you've been picking up a theme here. Super simple projects. But really easy to wear, especially as we've been in the house every day. But I still go out as much as I can. Not like out throughout the day, but I mean as much each day. I try to go out at least once a day to go in the park and walk Sarabi. And I do that unless the weather is inclement, then I've been staying in. And so this is one of those tops that really work nicely when you're just throwing something on, but you still want to be cool, because in South Carolina, spring has definitely come, and we had a kind of a snap about like earlier this week, and then we had some rain, but then it's been like in the 70s and 80s, so spring is definitely here. So yes, I really enjoyed that top, and yes, the only modification I made was to crop it significantly. Okay, now before I received my package from the Rifle Paper Company, I was planning to make a Rifle Paper Company dress, which is so funny because I had this fabric from the Amalfi collection. Yes, from the Amalfi collection. For a while, it was in my stash, and I had quite a bit of it. I had about 4 yards, and I wanted to make an indigo dress. This is another Tilly and the Buttons pattern, and it's a indigo smock top or dress. So it has a really like loose fitting, easy fit. And I'll be honest, when I first saw the pattern come up in my feed when Tilly released it, I wasn't that crazy about it because if you know, typically I prefer to wear the fit and flare dresses. Those are like my favorite fit. And I was like, oh, I don't know about such a loose dress, such a like a smock top, and I didn't think it was my style. And my sister, she sent me a picture of it when it was released, and she was like, oh, I love this. And I was like, oh, you know, it's okay. And then I started seeing more of the indigo smock popping up in my feed as other makers were making it, and I was like, wait, this is actually really a beautiful dress. And I was then Tilly made a couple of more versions. She made a polka dot version, she made a version in its vintage print, and I was like, well, this dress is just amazingly beautiful. And it's like it flew over my head at first, but then I was like, I like it. And first of all, I also think that what detracted me away from it was I've done the flounce sleeve before on a Vogue pattern, and I wasn't that crazy about the dress. And also with the flounce sleeves, when I make dresses like that, I know that I will not be able to wear it as much with cardigans. But I was like loving it more and more, and as it was popping up more and more, I was like, I really want to make the dress. So I placed an order for the dress, and I decided to go for all of the frills. I mean, I'm talking the flounce sleeves. I wanted to go for the exposed ruffles. Let's see. Right, you see the exposed ruffles on the waist and on the sleeves. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly. I just wanted to do everything, and I am super happy with this dress. I think it's absolutely beautiful. You feel really comfortable and cool in it, and when I was wearing it to go take photos, it was so nice, but yet you still look really put together. And I just was so surprised by how much I loved it. And it's funny because, I mean, of course I got pictures, but when all of this is over, I'm looking forward to wearing it, even though I'm trying to do better about making sure to dress every day. And so I'm just gonna, I think it'll be great also in the house because, again, it's a really comfortable dress. And so why not feel pretty while I'm at home also? I'm super happy with it. Again, I made no modifications. Where's my notes? And I made the dress version. Let's see. Yes, so that is the Indigo dress by Tilly and the Buttons. Super happy with it. Okay, so after that, I finished that dress, I was really like, oh, it would be nice to have another smock type dress with that loose fit. And another thing about being in the house is it makes me go in my pattern stash and my fabric stash just to evaluate and see what I have, because I definitely won't be doing any shopping like for a while or going out. And so it's like, oh, what fabric do I have? What yarn do I have? And what patterns match up with it? And so I went to my stash, and then I remembered I had this denim. It's like a lightweight denim that I purchased about 2 summers ago. Walmart was having like a deep sale on fabric, and it was $1 per yard. And I remember getting the end of the bolt, and it was about 2 yards. And I found that it was a little less than 2 yards when I was cutting. And so I wanted to make a smock type dress because I felt that in the denim I could wear it. Definitely this would be a year-round piece. I could wear it either sleeveless, but then I can just imagine a mock turtleneck such as my Freya tops under it when it gets a bit colder outside, or just a cardigan over it. And so I was went to my pattern stash also, and I remembered that I had this pattern from 1992. This is McCall's 5816, and as you can see, it has a lot of options, and it's just a really loose fitting dress, and it brought back memories of my childhood. I was thinking about like the show Sister Sister, and watching those, and those were the types of dresses that were really popular during that time, and I wanted to make a version. So as I mentioned, I had a little less than 2 yards, so I went with version D, this version here, the sleeveless version. And I really liked that button front, and I liked that it was a collarless button front dress, and this is my first time doing that. And I love the pattern so much. Now when I finished it, I found the dress to be a bit too long, and I didn't want it to be, since it was already very loose fitting, I didn't need it to be really frumpy. And so I took off, I think, about 1.5 inches from the hemline, and I think it worked out quite nicely. And I'm super happy with the fit of the dress. I like the length of the dress, and again, such an easy dress. When I finished it, I wore it the entire day after I took pictures, and it felt like I was just wearing a pair of like loungewear pajamas or a loungewear gown in the house. It was really comfy, and I just really enjoyed it. And also because the denim is not such a heavy denim. I'm sorry, I forgot to put my phone on silent. Let me do that now. But the denim is yes, the denim is a lightweight denim, so it feels really cool and easy, and I just really enjoyed wearing it. And I wore it the entire day yesterday in the house, and I felt amazing in it. And so you have this comfy dress that still looks really put together. So that is McCall's 5816. Now when I made that denim dress, I was thinking about my cozy cardigan that I was near the finish line, and every time I'm near the finish line of a product, I'm thinking about, not a product, of a project, I'm thinking about how am I going to wear it, how is it going to fit in my wardrobe. And of course with the cozy cardigan, I plan to wear it with my, I don't know if you remember, a couple of episodes back I shared a pair of leggings and a mock turtleneck set that I made. It was a really nice loungewear, and I knew that I was going to wear it with my leggings. I also think it's going to look great with my jeans and just the top. But I was like, oh, a denim dress would be really nice. And I think that subconsciously I was thinking about the denim dress because when I was reading Jim Weston, now she's the designer of this cardigan I'm about to share, when I was reading her blog some months ago, I think that she went to a show or the cardigan was on display, and it was on display with a denim dress. And so maybe that was in my mind, and I was like, oh, a denim dress would look good with this. And also I was thinking with the orange color that a denim and blue and orange always looks really nice together. So I finished my cozy cardigan. I was look, and I am so happy with it. Yes, it's just an amazing cardigan. It's made in one of my favorite yarns. This is Rowan Felted Tweed. The colors are ginger, treacle, and clay. I made no modifications to the pattern. I did have to go down 2 needle sizes to get gauge, and I didn't check gauge because it had the same gauge as my previous projects with the Rowan Felted Tweed, and so it all worked out really nicely. And also, as you can see, this is a really relaxed fitting cardigan, so the fit does not need to be exactly perfect. And so but I'm super happy with the fit. And oh, I will say that the pattern suggests doing mattress stitch to seam it all together, but I went for back stitch because I think that's my preferred seaming method anyway. And also when I used the mattress stitch previously with the Rowan Felted Tweed for my 2 pullovers by D Hardwick, I found that it tends to snap, and maybe I should go for a shorter length, but to alleviate that. But I was like, you know what, because I think the felted tweed can be fragile and you can snap it quite easily. And so to just not even have to go through that, I went with the back stitch, and I think it's quite sturdy and smooth. I also want to note that the finishing requires a lot of patience. It took me an entire day to do the finishing because you have to seam the sides, then these folded hems, which are so beautiful, you have to seam that, and well, yes, seam it or attach it, and that part went by relatively quickly, but it still took time. And then you have to weave in your ends, and so it's yes, quite a bit of time for finishing. but we have time. And so since I had time, I just popped in a movie or TV show. Yes, I've been watching Inspector Morse a lot lately. And so I love that those episodes are really long. And so I like binge watched that. And I got it done and I got it finished. The pattern, I don't know if she suggested if you wet block it or not, but I did that as I usually do with the Rowan felted tweed. And I used my soak solution and I soaked it for 15 minutes, lied it flat on my yoga mat / blocking mat, and I let it dry. And I'm so happy with it. Again, this is something else that I wore the entire day in the house yesterday until I got a bit too warm and I took it off. But it feels good, and also I like that the Rowan felted tweed, it's a nice woolly yarn, but it also is really light, and I love that. Well, that is it for the finished objects. I'll be back with the works in progress. Okay, I'm back. Now, before I share the works in progress, I forgot to share where the cozy cardigan is from, and this is from the publication Cozy Alpaca Knits by Jim Weston. And let me show it to you. And this is the cozy cardigan. Now I saw that Jim Weston made a version in the Rowan felted tweed, and I just fell for it, and I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. And then Jim sent me a message, and she wanted to send me a copy of her book. And so she this was a gift from her, and it has a beautiful message on the inside, a personalized message, and it just says to Constance, happy knitting, Jim, and kisses. And so I was so happy to receive this in the mail, and I knew that I wanted to make a Rowan felted tweed version because the original pattern uses the Rowan Moordell, which I've never used before, but I did use the felted tweed, and I knew that I loved that yarn. So I purchased my yarn from the Luna Lola yarn shop, and I got to work. I think she suggested like that I would need 8 skeins, but I remember using only well, not remember, but I only used 6 skeins of the main color, and so I have 2 extra skeins of that ginger color, so I need to figure out something to do with that. Okay, so that's it for the finished objects. Now I do want to share my works in progress. I shared with you in a previous episode that I was going to make the Mary Queen of Scots from Alice Starmore's Tudor Roses book. Now I was making it in preparation for my trip. My sister and I, we were planning to go to England and Scotland in June, but of course you know that trip is most likely canceled. I mean, yeah. So I didn't have the urgency to complete it as I did before. Okay, so that's the Mary Queen of Scots, and it's a beautiful design, and I think it's one of her easier designs in the Tudor Roses collection. And I don't know if this is much progress from what I shared with you last, because I actually had to rip back what I shared with you last, because read your instructions. Alice Starmore, her pattern instructions are very clear, but I was like on autopilot. So when I was doing the increases, I was just increasing on the end as you typically do with the pattern. But then I started to read the pattern again, and I noticed that the increases were different for there were different spacing or different increased rows, and so I had to rip back and correct that. But I'm back on track now. And so yes, not that much progress from what I shared with you last, but it's beautiful. And as the weather's getting hotter, I'm not as motivated to make that garment, but I do have another kit from Virtual Yarns, and I'm so happy that I placed the order as soon as I saw the kit, because now they have also put a pause on their shipping because of the virus. And so I have the Trag cardigan. Not sure how to pronounce that, by J Star Moore, and I think it looks like the perfect spring cardigan. And I slightly changed the colors a bit, and I was thinking that I may swap out the Mary Queen of Scots and instead work on that, just to have something fresh and something new, something that would make me happy, because the colors that I swapped out were shades of green. And it's not that the Mary Queen of Scots is not making me happy, and it's a easy project. I just think that when I look at it, I kind of think, oh, you know, I was hoping to finish this for our trip, and then I kind of think about the trip and that it's canceled, and then I kind of, you know, and so I think that's why I kind of put it down for just a little bit, but not forever. And so yes, that's how that is going. And then when I was finishing my cozy cardigan, I was like, I really want a project that's just kind of going to uplift me and put me like in a good mood. But then I also wanted to, as I've said, I've been looking at my stash, my yarn stash and everything, and I was looking at what I had, and I remember that I purchased 4 skeins of Cascade 220 Superwash. And I purchased 4 skeins of it because it was half off at my local yarn store around the Thanksgiving holidays. And so I was like, oh, with 4 skeins, you know, and I made 3 cardigans with the Cascade 220 previously. Superwash is not my favorite yarn, but I don't hate it. And so I was like, oh, this is a good price for the yarn. And so I purchased 4 skeins of it because I knew that I could probably squeeze out a cardigan or something like that. And so yes, I had it. And this color is called Army. Not the best name, but I mean, okay. And I think it's beautiful. And I wanted to make something in green because, you know, I just wanted something that would make me happy. Now this is the Sherry cardigan by Kim Hargraves, and I just started it last night. I did the swatch and I immediately cast on because I thought I would have to play with the gauge a lot, because the Cascade 220 Superwash is like a light worsted / DK weight yarn, and the original pattern is worked with Row and Revive, which is a DK weight yarn, but I only had to go down 1 needle size, and I was like, yay! And so that is not going to disrupt the fabric that much, and it won't be too dense, I don't think. And so let me get an image of the Sherry cardigan for you. So this is the Sherry cardigan. Oh, I should have put my phone on complete silence. But yes, that's the Sherry cardigan by Kim Hargraves. And so hold on 1 second. I feel like since we haven't had been able to socialize as much, that my message box and everywhere, email, everything is just always getting messages, and you get such an influx of messages that now even to go to sleep at night, I have to put my phone on complete silence, like no buzzing. And I really don't like doing that because I usually think at night, what if somebody does call me for an emergency? But one night I just could not sleep because my phone was getting so many messages. And so yes, it's just like I have to like disconnect and then come back to it, because otherwise it's just too much. I think it can be a bit overwhelming, and sometimes I just want a break from it all. And so yeah, so okay, I'm getting off track. Back to the Sherry cardigan. This is from Kim Hargrave's Honey collection. This is one of my favorite collections by Kim Hargraves. I have a lot of favorites, but this is up there, like in the top 3, because there are some truly beautiful designs, and it has a lot of like cropped and fitted garments, and I think the styling was really perfect for this. Now this came out in 2014, and I'm not sure where you can still find this book if you were interested, but I remember purchasing this book when Uncommon Threads, which is a local yarn store in are they in Seattle? I'm not sure exactly where they're located, but someone during the Kim Hargraves Alone told me that they were having half off of their Kim Hargraves books, and that's how I was able to purchase this book from their half off sale. So I got it for only $15. Yes. And I'm so happy because it's definitely one of my favorites. This and the Indigo collection, if that's what it's called, is definitely some of my favorites. Also the Steel collection, which is why I purchased an extra copy of it, because I wanted to give it to someone else. Okay. So yes, I started it and it's coming together quite nicely. I haven't made much progress on it because I just started it last night. But yes, I think it's going to be a relatively quick knit. And I also think that I'm going to enjoy wearing it a lot, because it's like having a green in my wardrobe is like having a black cardigan. It goes with almost everything. And I already have a long sleeve bright green cardigan. I have a long sleeve kind of deeper green cardigan. So now it's time for me to have a green cardigan that's shorter sleeve that I can wear in the warmer months, and so I don't have to get too hot, but I can still be cozy enough. Okay, so that actually concludes today's episode. I have my notes here, and I'm super happy with the things that the things that I created during this time, and I'm just so grateful that I've been blessed to have these crafts and these gifts to keep me occupied also. And so I'm just trying to stay productive. I do want to say that it can be a bit daunting to figure out what to tackle next. And so what I do is, because I'm in a craft group on Facebook, and someone commented that she felt kind of overwhelmed by what to create. She felt like she just kept picking up things, putting it down, trying to do everything. And so what I do is each week I write goals of what I want to create, what I want to finish, and that helps me to focus. So for example, this past week, my goals were only 2 goals, craft goals. That was to complete my cozy cardigan and to make a denim dress, and I was able to do that. So I know my goal for this week is to definitely work on my sherry cardigan primarily, and I may try to do to sew a garment, but I'm not sure yet. And so maybe by the end of the night I'll figure out if I want to add that to my list. And so yes, just try to prioritize, have goals, and stay safe and well and happy as much as you can during this time, and enjoy your loved ones. All right, you guys, I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you all later. Also, don't forget that the twirls and the finished photos of all of the garments will be at the end of this video. I'll see you next time, probably sooner than later since I have a bit more time.